I did watch Happy Gilmore like over the weekend twice.
Yeah, I couldn't have guessed that from you going Schwabadoo.
Oh, I just thought that came out of your brain. I've never seen Happy Gilmore, so.
You've never seen Happy
He's
Gilmore?
never seen Billy Madison either.
I'll circle back. I have a long list of
Circle
movies.
back. It should be at the top of your fucking list.
I mean, Billy Madison.
Demon Slayer
for sure.
season 3 just came out, so nothing else
Shut
is at the
up.
top of my list.
Shut
What about 8 Crazy Nights? That's like a Adam Sandler anime.
Obviously, I have no idea what you're talking about.
He made a Hanukkah movie, an animated Hanukkah movie.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, he does a bum bitty 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 bum bum.
There are some good bits in there.
Yeah, actually, I have heard that song before.
Yeah, bum bitty 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 bum.
Okay, well, what's up, boys?
Magic time?
Magic time.
Hello and welcome to the MoxStars Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Evan Kunai, and I am here with my two best friends, Jordan Garcia
Yo, what's up?
and Christopher Ritter.
Shabadoo. Did I do that correctly?
You did, yes, you
Good.
did.
I wouldn't know.
Today we are getting into it. We're going to be talking about the growth of our decks as part of our pregame actions. But before we even get into that, we have to talk about where you can find us. You can find us on YouTube, any podcasting platforms. If you're wondering where the links are for that, they're in the description below. You can find us there. Be sure to hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, and ring the bell to get more notifications on when you can our next episode drops. Now we can get into it. Jordan, what's up, dude?
Yo, what's up? What's up with me is I wanted to mention one more plug. Are you ready for it? We need some rating on Spotify, guys. We got 0 ratings on our Spotify account. So if you can all do me a favor, go over there, give us a little 5 stars. What up?
Yeah, you guys can also look forward to more content coming from us. We're looking to do 2 videos every single week and launch a little bit of a Patreon action, which will give you early access. And also, you'll be subscribed to a sweepstakes where we're just giving away cards.
Yeah, you can get more cards.
Yeah, cards of
Everybody loves
significant
cards.
value. Mostly foils because that's all we have.
We are foil sluts, and I expect our followers to be as well.
And you'll get a friggin' sticker.
I swear to God, give me one comment, and I will send you a sticker. Priority shipping.
Yeah, be sure to leave a comment below because that does help the algorithm. We interact with you, you interact with us, we interact right back, you know? So we talk, we have a conversation.
Tell you what, you give
YouTube
us
loves that.
5 stars on Spotify, you get 2 stickers.
Ooh. What about
Whoa.
1 sticker for every star? 5-star minimum.
5 stickers straight up. How many stickers we got?
The logistics of finding the person who gave us 5 stars is going to be way more difficult.
Oh yeah, so the deal is you give us the 5 stars on Spotify and then subscribe to us on YouTube and then send us a little DM being like, yo, that was me.
No, I think the way is you give us 5 stars on Spotify, and then you follow us on YouTube, and then you leave a comment below the video,
Right.
and you get 1 sticker, and then that sticker, we can fill out some paperwork, and then you can get 5 stickers for your 5 stars.
It's like a rebate thing.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Or
yeah,
through
hit us.
Instagram or something like that. If you hit us up on Instagram,
Yeah, we'll find it's all run to the same folk.
yeah, we'll find you.
We'll talk to our
We'll find you.
our social media team.
Our people will reach
and
out to your
we'll,
people
We'll
and
figure
we'll
it
make it
out.
happen.
Yeah.
You're gonna get up to 5 stickers, guys. That's fucking crazy.
The MoxStars are growing. We're a growing podcast. We love you all for listening. You're our truly devoted audience. So let's get into it. We're a Magic podcast. We're going to actually talk a little bit about Magic the Gathering.
What?
You guys have any pregame actions?
Well, I thought we were going to be chatting about some of the fresh shiz, some of the building that we've been doing, some of the brewskis.
Ooh, yeah, that is. I do have
Talking
a
about
pregame
brewskis?
action.
Brewskis for the broskis.
Ooh, I like it. Brewskis for broskis.
Great type.
That is our charity. Every purchase of this podcast, we donate 10% of that to Brewskis for Broskis, and it's just a really good cause. It's like how John Cena is with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We're with
100%.
Brewskis for Broskis. That's like our thing. We are there,
We are bing.
Yeah.
We find the broskis and we give them brewskis.
and we give them Brewskis. That's what we're about.
and MoxStar stickers.
Yep.
If you guys do want to play Magic with us, if you're listening and you're in the Seattle area, you can find us at Optimism on Monday nights.
Don't kill us.
Sometimes.
Don't kill us.
Sometime.
It's been erratic lately.
But if we have more players, we'll have more. We'll play more.
Yeah, we're
often,
kind of
right?
trying to hit up some more people on the local CDH Discord and kind of get a little growing scene going. Maybe some stuff going at some local LGSs at some point. So stay tuned for that.
All right, back on track. We've been playing decks.
We've been playing. We're talking about playing.
Yeah, we've been playing.
One of my favorite ways to play Magic is with the Magic deck.
Yeah, by playing.
It's a
the
great
game.
way to start.
Yeah.
And I know that we've been sort of like brewing and building decks as of late. And I was sort of just like, honestly, just like fucking around and looking at Naya decks. And I remember 6 months ago, Jordan had said something about Hazezon, the sand dude, making it into a top 16 at a CDH tournament. And so that little nugget of information just lodged itself in my brain until I finally felt the motivation to build the deck myself. And I was just sort of like wondering, how good could it be?
What does this dude do?
So he is one of each, like Naya, so red, green, white. He's a 3/3 human soldier warrior thing. And he says he has Desert Walk.
Okay.
And then
That's the best part about him.
right. And then whenever a desert enters the battlefield under your control, you create 2 1/1 green, white, and red sand warrior creature tokens.
Okay.
But then he also has the line of text that says you can play deserts from your graveyard.
Okay.
So you can play desert land cards from your graveyard. So there's a few loops involving like like Sylvan Safekeeper, where you can just sort of like sack a land to give something Shroud. And there's a few other options, like crop rotation's great. You sack a land, you go get a land. So if you don't have a desert, you can go get a desert, enters the battlefield, or you sack a desert, go get a desert, play a desert from your graveyard, and all of a sudden you got 4 tokens on the battlefield, and that Gaia's Cradle looks really good. So when you actually put the most powerful cards in the game in this deck, it's crazy how good it is. And I went home. I'm living in Seattle. I am from Wisconsin. And I was playing with my old pod. Shout out to the guys. What's up? And they don't like stacks. I love stacks. They're not used to stacks. But I came in and just like put my Enchantress package into this deck. And the deck needs a lot of work. I think that's just like very apparent right off the first few times of playing it because it fizzled out a bunch.
Now, hold on. The one that you built, is it similar to the top 16 or is it a Rube Goldberg machine?
It is the Rube Goldberg.
It's an Evan.
Okay.
It is
100% an Evan.
Got it.
I did not even look at the list.
Got it.
Yeah, he insists on doing everything his way.
Got it.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, this desert guy. You know what this desert guy needs? Needs a food chain combo and an Academy Rector in there.
I heard that someone got top 16 with it, so I'm dedicated to making it a top 16 deck.
That guy's list is dog shit.
It's what I say whenever I look at a top 16 list. So, like, I know better. But clearly, this deck needs some work. So, I played a few games, and there's some really cool things that happen with, like, there was one game where I went for Ranger Captain of Eos, and I had a Gaia's Cradle on the battlefield already. I had not played a land for a turn, so I went and tapped the Gaia's Cradle. I had 3 creatures, got the mana, used 2 white, cast a Ranger Captain, went and got the Sylvan Safekeeper, cast it, and then sacrificed one of my lands, which just so happened to be a desert, and then played another desert, got 2 more warriors, and I did not have a land in hand. So I was essentially ramping through the ability of Hazezon, which was a really cruel, or really cruel and really cool mechanic. Because later in the game, I ended up Eladamri's calling for Winota, and it's basically a Winota Jetmir list with Hazezon as like an enabler to achieve the requirements for both of those abilities.
Okay, so I guess my question is, what is it about Hazezon that makes him better than the other options? Like, why would you not just do Rocco Secret Commander to facilitate this stuff, or one of the other guys you just named?
Right, yeah. Rocco, I guess, like Rocco is just the best Naya commander out there. Just flat out, period. I'll say it. But this build actually lets me play all of the stacks pieces that contribute to my the mana base that I've like Rube Goldberg together,
Okay.
And so I can play all these stacks pieces. I don't have to like play Dockside Loops, which is what also what Rocco wants to do. Those turbo Rocco decks. So if I can get out the pieces to lock down the game, I can literally just walk a line that only I can walk.
Okay.
Which is essentially, walk through the desert and be able to come out on the other side and win. The problem playing against the other pod was that since it's a different pod, there's a different meta. They play board wipes pretty heavily. So it was really hard to navigate the game when one guy's deck is literally nicknamed Board Wipe Tribal. So you're just sitting there.
Was it a short guy deck or something else?
No, it's Zurgo Helm Smasher because he has indestructible during your turn. So
cool.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. So he just keeps punching you in the face after he wipes your board.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
Yeah, it would right.
Simple in such a good way. Such an
elegant. Yeah.
Elegant.
Yeah, Josh, this one's out to you, right?
What an elegant deck, Josh.
So like the deck in the standard meta where you're looking at not board wipes and you're looking at people trying to go as fast as they can, as recklessly as they can. Like this is where I mulligan until I get a blind obedience or whatever, or something that slows the game down. Stony Silence put on a freaking clinic with these guys because they don't play with stacks. So you're like sitting there looking at this enchantment, like, what does that do again?
That's so funny because they must be just like a fully unpunished pod. Like play artifact ramp for your heart's content.
Outside of board wipes, completely unpunished.
Maybe you're that like a little drop of Phyrexian oil. You're going to go back home next time and it's going to be totally different.
Oh, I hope so. I hope they play stacks. It's like, I hope I inspired them because a back to basics literally won me a game.
Ooh.
So yeah, it was great.
What did they have like a specific type of stacks that they hated more than most, or was it just kind of generally?
Just general stacks. Like anything that slowed the game down was unfamiliar to them. So
that's so funny because our pod is the polar opposite. Like we have just dedicated stacks players, and then we put fucking stacks on our decks that have nothing to do with.
Yeah, everyone runs stacks.
They're just like light stacks. If I'm in white, I'm splashing Drannith Magistrate. I
mean, there's been times where like I think 3 of us have just had our own deafening silence on the board.
Like we are firmly casting one fucking spell each turn.
There was a point where there were 2 blind obedience on the board, and it's like we just play blind obedience because it's a great
asymmetrical
white card. Yeah, it's asymmetrical. So
That's
like,
right. Kyle followed up and was like, "You just got the same fucking thing."
Yeah,
that's funny as shit.
It's just like it's such a great card because if you do happen to be able to go off and storm off, you can actually just use your infinite mana to win the game with that. So that's why blind obedience is amazing. And you should play it in every white deck you have access to. But yeah, overall, playing that deck a few times has led me just to swap out a few cards, right?
Okay.
I realize that Nahiri's Lithoforming is probably the only deck that Nahiri's Lithoforming goes into and works properly.
That's the 2 red X, you're sacking lands to search for lands.
It's sacrifice X lands, draw X cards, and then you may play X additional lands this turn, and they enter the battlefield tapped no matter what.
Got it, yeah.
And
if you're wondering, it's a bad card.
Not a good card.
Well, it's a sorcery. There's why it's bad. If it was an instant, I feel like it could have been good.
It would be an instant speed bad card.
Well, here's the thing. It's good in Hazezon because you can play your deserts from the graveyard.
Okay.
So if you pay X is 3 and you sacrifice 3 deserts, you just play those 3 deserts again from your graveyard and then get 6 Sand Warriors. And then you draw 3 cards and then you have broken parity pretty significantly. The problem is you don't run into that many deserts. There are 16 playable deserts.
Man, if near Deadlands, and then
you can't even play that because you're not in the color.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so you have Ramanop Ruins, Heshep Oasis, a few other things. So really, Desert of the True, Desert of the whatever, Indomitable and the Fervent. So you have access to these cards, but if they are colored, they come in tapped, and then if they're and most of them are colorless. So when you're trying to cast a commander that it requires all 3 colors, you don't want to be like sitting there with a handful of colorless lands. So finding deserts is actually a problem. So Nahiri's Lithoforming, its max value comes at X is 2.
Okay.
Like realistically. right? And so you're paying 4 mana to sacrifice 2 lands to draw 2 cards to play 2 deserts from your graveyard that are going to enter tapped, and you get 4 Sand Warriors out of it.
And that's only 4 mana?
That's 4 mana.
Wow.
There are actually cards that on the face of the card do more than that for 4 mana.
Yeah.
So
A lot more.
yeah, so that card's coming out, and we were just talking about like Fable of the Mirror Breaker, like as just a value piece with this sort of enchantment.
More on that later.
Spoiler for our second topic.
Yeah, so this like Enchantress build that I've got going, even though it is a saga, it is still an enchantment, and if the timing is right in a competitive, environment, it's all going to work out. It'll work out for me, So, and it flips into an enchantment creature because it's from Kamigawa, which is great.
Of course.
So yeah, there's a few like swaps right away. I need to find more permanent based land sacrificing if I want to take more advantage of like those types of things, but the deck, maybe I should look at the top 16 build.
Nah, I don't see why you would now.
At this point, the 2 decks have no relation to each other, I bet.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No, except that we're both playing deserts.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That one guy just like crop rotations for Field of Ruin, and that's it.
And that's not even a desert.
It's not even the fucking desert.
Not even a
Jesus
desert, dude.
Christ, bro. It's in the desert.
Yeah.
Things that you think would be deserts, like Field of the Dead, not a desert.
Yeah. Yep. Like brush.
It looks like a desert.
It 100%.
Sure.
It is a desert.
Yeah.
Right. Like brush,
It's in the desert.
Like Brush Cliffs is like, or whatever it's called, is a desert.
Wow.
It's like taps for a colorless, or you can pay 1 to filter a mana into any color. So like, are there utility deserts? There's one, Grasping Dunes, that is pay 1, tap it, sack it, put a -1/-1 counter on something. And if you're playing Hazezon, it's not nothing to be able to like sack that -1 counter, play it, get 2 warriors, sack it, put a -1 counter on something. Like that's actually pretty decent. And then if you have Exploration out, you can do it multiple times per turn. So good. It's good. It's a good deck.
Okay.
I will play it when we come back around to it on Monday,
Got it.
but you get to see it then.
I just love that you have no idea what the top 16 deck did.
My question is, do you have any combo outlet, any way to win in your deck?
No. That's a big no for good buddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. There's no infinite loop in here. It's just literally that win con list like strategy, beat face.
Oh,
like
that's right. You're doing the Jetmir build.
That's why
I got you.
So there's like cards like Knight of New Alara, which is crazy. It's 2 and a green and a white from the same deck that Hazezon came out of, but it is other multicolored creatures you control get +1/+1 for each of their colors. So those Sand Warriors, when you create them, are
4/4s.
yes, exactly.
it.
So
Okay.
and then so it's also a human, so you can flip it off Winota. So you go get Winota, you put it out there, you swing with your Sand Warriors, who are exclusively not humans. So you get those triggers, you flip that, and all of a sudden you're swinging with 4/4s. So pretty strong. And then even if you go for Jetmir, you're creating it. Gets out of control quickly how many Sand Warriors you end up having. So as long as you have as long as you get your colors to be able to cast Hazezon, you have a sack outlet for your land in some way. Could just be a crop rotation, but it really does snowball pretty quickly.
Zerun Orb.
Zerun Orb. Yeah, that
I'm
would
not
be great
even
in that.
playing it.
I mean, it's a terrible card.
Why would you want to facilitate your commander?
Yeah,
Why would you want a permanent that allows you to sacrifice a land? at
especially
instant
since
speed?
I'm playing Urza Saga.
Yeah. Got to play that Nahiri's lithoforming there instead.
I was learning how the deck works. I was just learning. It's part of the deck building process.
This is what we're here
journey.
for.
It's a journey. It's not about the destination. But I do want to be the top 6.
I feel like if we went on EDH Rec and we like clicked on Nahiri's lithoform and could see how many decks it's in, it would just be a picture of you.
It'd just be
It's 16 decks that
This is the
have been
guy. This is the
built.
guy that tried it.
I really wanted it to be a good card.
Yeah,
I did too.
It reads like it could be good, but it's not.
No. Yeah, there are a few of those cards out there that
There's a
read
lot
like
of
it could be
those.
good. You guys want to get into the main subject, or Jordan, you got some stuff you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk what I'm brewing real quick. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about tournaments, getting into some like CDH tournaments coming up here. We're talking about going to the Cash Cards Unlimited tournament down in LA come June.
Is that what you're trying to buy that Grim Monolith for?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
So I have enough funds to get the other 2 dual lands I need, and then after that, it's just a $200 monolith, and I'm Gucci.
Hell yeah.
But actually, I don't even need to because they just announced all the details for that. It's a 100% proxy-friendly tournament.
Get the fuck out.
Let's fucking go.
Wow.
100% proxy-friendly where you get first place Time Twister.
Hell,
There's no
yes.
there's no sense if you've bought the cards and even if you have it physically, there's no sense for you to take that physical deck that you've procured to this tournament. Print it out. Go to your FedEx print shop. Print it out.
I mean, everybody's going to be flexing with the decks.
There's no sense. There's no sense in it to risk losing it.
I mean, the
in some
flex
way.
is the sense.
That's why we do this.
Yeah.
That's why we do this.
Yeah.
It is almost like a little bit. It can be, like if you sit down to a table and somebody sits down and it's just like fully blinged out in a way that like resonates. That's intimidating. It's
Right.
It's,
Oh, yeah.
you know, it's like someone showing up to the field with the best gear, and like you can tell the difference between an asshole showing up with the best gear and they just bought the best gear, and someone who showed up with the best gear because they like earned it and
Yeah.
Right.
representing that they deserve to play the best gear.
Yeah, there was one time I flipped a DCI Judge Foil Chrome Mox off the top of someone's library with Ragavan, and I was like, is it okay if I play it?
Yeah, the first ever game of CDH in a tournament I played, the first guy going first played his first land, which was a Guru Island.
Yeah.
And then he followed...
That's like a $700 card, right?
Yeah.
Something like
yeah,
that.
if not higher nowadays. And then followed it up with like tons of other gas and shit like that. It was like a Seeker from the Vault, Mox Diamond and shit like that. I was like, all right, we're actually at a CDH tournament. Got it. Let me fucking lock in here.
Yeah, right. No, it's I guess when you put it that way, you're right. It is like sitting at the table and you do see, you see what's across from you, and it can be intimidating.
Yeah.
100%.
At the same time, I get your point of like, hey, I'm not going to put a $15,000 deck in my luggage. I mean, hopefully that's in your carry-on.
Yeah.
But like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
It's a lot for sure, and especially as the game gets more expensive, just the cards we've already held for so long are now worth a lot of money. And
I'm
so
considering just putting it into safety lockbox at the bank and just walking away for a few years.
Evan collected all these cards so he could never look at them or ever touch them ever again.
Yeah, I need to be in a private room with a secure with security in order to view these cards.
White gloves and everything. So anyway, we're looking at playing a bunch of these tournaments coming up and stuff, and so I kind of was taking a real hard look. Like, I'm not sure if I wanted to stick with the commanders I have been playing, which has been my Grixis Malcolm list, and I've been kind of bopping around with like other Grixis commanders, Evelyn and stuff like that. And then it just kind of clicked. It's like my goal now is to like kind of become a better player, and I really want to start playing more tournaments and actually doing well in them. So I decided to do the polar opposite of what Evan's doing, which I love what Evan's doing. And I sold my soul and got rid of all the creativity out of my heart. And I picked a meta top 4 list. So I am playing Rograk Silas, which is arguably, not even arguably, it's one of the top 4 in CEDH right now.
I believe in you.
Thank you.
yeah. I mean,
I believe in you.
there's some wiggle room. You can swap out a few cards in that
Yeah, I mean,
list. and
there's always,
you know.
3 or so flex slots in one of these lists. But, I mean, yeah, there's people that are just smarter and better than me at Magic, and I just want to kind of see what these guys think like, and kind of try that out. I kind of was starting to see this with different formats and stuff, just how I guess I would say how little I know about Magic, like, just how many ways different people can think about the same situation. And when I see somebody else play Magic, it's just a whole different thing. So with that in mind, I'm kind of trying to go outside of my comfort zone and play a deck that I actually didn't make, and play a deck that someone that is better than me made. And I'm going to try and get better with it.
As part of that process, like, you have to get better at the deck by watching like gameplay videos and reading analyses and like seeing the matchups with it, like versus like, hey, I built this deck from the bones out. Like I know it inside and out, and I'm just gonna know what my outs are.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And like someone like Evan who's like building these like awesome lists, like you're gonna know like ins and outs and what to grab off of tutors just like instinctually, and maybe be able to play a lot better in like these corner case scenarios, just because you know the list so well. So eventually I will work up to that. And,
I mean, you'll get there, but there's outside research required.
Outside research and just more time and grinding. But it's also a very popular list. You know, I have gotten to see it played a decent amount. It plays a lot of tournaments. Those are starting to get streamed now, especially like the top 16s and up to the finals. So I've been watching those. Yeah, so it's a great list, and it's actually, funny enough, very close to the list I'm currently running, just much, much, much better, with much better commanders as well. And so pretty much I wouldn't need to buy anything for this tournament.
Okay.
If I didn't want to, but I already happen to have a bunch of stuff I was trying to sell back and get rid of all this shit in my house.
I mean, if you got to buy some multi-$100 cards, you might as well, right?
Yeah, I'm going to do it, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll pick up my full Grixis dual land.
I think that's just going to feel good.
It's going to feel
owning
great.
that stuff. Yeah.
You actually netted about 1 cubic meter of space in the house.
Oh my God.
And go of some of this stuff.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. And then everybody, the shit I couldn't sell, if anybody wants just boxes of cards, I will give me your address. I'll send
Join our bulk tier on Patreon.
Yes.
And these
It
cards
is
could be yours.
$2 a month, but I'll send you 500 cards.
There's so to like reinforce your point on like playing these lists, even though like I'm building something from the ground up, no one is a good enough player to build a list from the ground up, play it one time and win a tournament. Like no one is. Like you would have to be literally the luckiest person in the world to play it for the first time and run through a tournament and win it all.
Totally.
Right? Like the Magda list that won Marchesa a couple of years back, you know, it's like that guy played that list hundreds of times, if not thousands. So
Totally, yeah. The guy who did Teferi that won the first Cash Cards Unlimited tournament, he's been playing that since Teferi came out.
yeah, that's an old ass deck, and he played it probably thousands and thousands of times in order to get where he was, and he just like saw his gap, shot the gap, and it paid off for him. So like the Chain Veil like combo has been known forever. It's just so uncommon at the table that he got away with it. He got away with one. He got a Black Lotus.
Yeah, and he also just knows how to play his deck that well. Yeah, and he walked away with a Black Lotus for it. How fucking crazy is that?
Like, even though you gave me the greatest compliment in the world saying that I would know what to tutor for.
I just mean like, you know how to play in the fringe. Like, you know, when you have, you know, a quirky deck like that, you've built in the solutions and the answers for the things that are problems for you.
You know, like I love Zakama. I played it competitively, and I do think it has the potential to win games. There are still times when I show up to the table, I'm so nervous that like I don't know what to go for. I was the idiot. I remember when we went to that tournament in Olympia, and they're like going through the rules, and they're like, "Any questions?" And my hand slowly goes out of the crowd, and they're like, "Yes," and I'm like, "So if we're tutoring, is it possible?" And they're like, "You can't use your phone." And I was like, "Is it possible to look at my list on my phone to see what I could possibly tutor for?" And they're like, "Deck building is part of the skill building, you know, like the skill part of the game. So, no."
Yeah, you got shut down real hard.
Yeah, you know, but
I'm glad I wasn't sitting next to you.
right.
You were just in the back like, yeah, asshole.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. I wasn't even embarrassed. I was just like, "Oh, cool, okay."
Oh yeah, for sure.
But, you know, it's like you do have to play your deck hundreds of times if you're going to compete at a high level. And so like going to cash cards, if we do that, it's like we got to be playing like crazy. It's kind of wild to like I understand, you know, it's just like these are going to be the best players in the world. Like when you put a prize like that on the table, like you're going to attract a big crowd, a very competitive crowd.
Mm-hmm.
People who are going to be playing all the time, like John, if you're listening to this. Hi, John.
What up, dog?
They're playing every Saturday. And they're probably playing a few times
God,
during the
I'm
week.
so jealous of their setup. In small town, they have, at their local game shop, they have a weekly CEDH tournament with 30 people showing up.
I mean, you just got to build that. Like,
I mean, yeah, and that's what I was talking about, going on the Discord and trying to get this little group together.
Join the weekly CDH Patreon tier.
So we're getting there, y'all. If you play in CEDH in Seattle, let's chat about it. Let's make it happen, because I would love to get this going. And if we could just get a venue, that'd be so hot. Yeah, they play CEDH every Saturday, a full tournament, and then they do a much larger tournament with prizes quarterly, like larger prizes quarterly. And we're going to go and try to go to one of those too.
oh, hell yeah.
I know it seemed like a long walk, but we got there. We got to our main topic today, which is the state of the game and how it's changing with MDFCs. two-faced cards, and how do you get the most value out of them? How are they changing how you approach the game? And fundamentally, I guess how they are changing the game, right? Like the new permanent type battles in MDFC. Like, I guess you don't have a choice to make, but it is a dual-face card that has multiple effects on both sides. So
Yeah.
let's open up the table.
Well, for me, Evan, it comes down to when both sides of the card are good, I like to play it.
God.
Yeah.
Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
The thing is, though,
Well, it
like
is.
with MDFCs, I feel like when both sides of the card are fine, the card's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of fucking fine text on one card.
That modality there, it's, man, if you have one side of a card that might be useful in a fringe scenario, all of a sudden you get two sides that might be useful in two or more different fringe scenarios. It makes it real playable.
Well,
real playable.
Let's get on the reel here then, right? So we're talking about
Real.
playability on these. MDFCs were reintroduced. I don't want to say they were. I don't know when they were introduced. I would like to say werewolves when they first did Innistrad, but they were reintroduced here with Zendikar Rising, coming back with those lands and having sorceries and instants with lands on the back.
That's when we really got the big boon.
Yeah, that's when we really started seeing like the I guess prospective buyers on these just like saying like these cards are going to be insane. Like we still see some at a competitive level.
I mean, I love those pathways. Like a lot of the MDFCs from Zendikar are still very playable. Like
I fuck with those pathways. Those don't get enough love. Like I know they're not
great.
They don't have typing on it, and I know that like that's not it. But like those, also the borderless on them, the arts are fucking gorgeous.
They're beautiful.
Oh yeah,
Those are slam dunk cycle.
I mean, they come in untapped.
Yes,
And like if you're playing in a 2-color deck, they're a must include.
They're
for me.
so
just
good.
like they're never a bad draw. You know?
yeah, I agree. I like auto include 2 colors for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they even do have like the modal cards that you can cast or play as a land that hurt. You know, like they're basically just like bolt lands, right? So like Seagate Restoration.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, even Malakar Rebirth is very playable. Shadow
Yeah, all the
Smashing
time.
That
is borderline. Amaria's Call in mono white, I'll throw that in there for sure.
I would
Yeah.
say Malakir Rebirth is the one I have seen the most since release.
To me, that is the best one they've.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like-
I mean, I think that's also the most expensive out of them. It's like an uncommon that's $6 or $7 right now,
nice.
or something like that. Yeah,
I mean, I don't even take the L on like Bajuka Bog these days for the tapped single color source, but I will for that.
for the Malakir.
For the Malakir Rebirth,
Yes.
it's the only exception I make.
Yep. Yeah, it's like
even if you're not doing reanimator
No,
shenanigans,
rarely.
it's so relevant. I mean, you're drawing out removal from someone and keeping your commander. I
God
think
forbid
a lot
that
of
commander
times,
has an
you know?
ETB on them.
right. Getting the secondary ETB effect is like really where I want to see it like really shine. So yeah, Malakir Rebirth. Out of the Zendikar Rising stuff, I think it is the best, right? Out of those. But then we saw the evolution of MDFCs as we started like moving forward.
Kaldheim and Strixhaven.
Yep. Yeah, we started seeing equipments on the back of like things. Even in Adventures of the Forgotten Realms, you saw it happen a couple times. And then, here we are now with March of the Machine. Is like we're seeing double face cards with Kamigawa. I would say was the next really big set that had MDFCs.
Sagas that flip. That was the first time we saw that.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily that they're modal; they're just dual faced. And we saw werewolves and Innistrad come back, but sagas that flipped into creatures, increasingly greater value as the game went on. And then March of the Machine. Now we're seeing creatures that start off, turn into sagas, and then can flip back, and you can keep recurring value off of them. So we've come a long way, right?
They've definitely explored this game space.
And that's ultimately, I think, like what is happening now is that they are absolutely stretching their limits on what they can do with that possibility.
Well, it's interesting because, in terms of stretching the game space, they're also, putting restrictions on the game space that they can be used in, because the interesting thing about battles is that you can't just destroy the battle. You can't just, do something to all the counters on there. Like the actual effect of turning over to the other side can only be accessed when you take the final counter off.
Right.
So it's not just like you're not just automatically getting access to both sides of the card. There's some hoops that you have to jump through.
Right. The werewolves being daybound and nightbound. Like, regardless of, if you're playing something that's very werewolf focused, like switching to night and day, that's part of your deck. That's part of your strategy. You're going to be able to make that happen. But it is otherwise very difficult. There's times when I play Averbrook Caretaker, and the amount of times it goes from day to night is so few. It hardly ever happens. You ever know a player who is going to take a turn off and cast nothing so that you can get like incredible advantage on the backside?
Right.
You know, it's a big hoop that you have to jump through. Otherwise, you have to take your turn off, flip it, and then wait for it to come back around to you. Hope that no one casts two spells on the way around the table.
Yeah, it's kind of garbage.
So like that mechanic, the hoops that you have to jump through sometimes just waiting, right? The Kamigawa sagas, like waiting. Fable the Mirror Breaker, like one of the best cards in Standard. One of the best cards we've seen in a long time, and how it contributes to Standard, Modern, Commander. Like, I think it's one of the better MDFCs that we've seen since his reintroduction.
Yeah, so I think it's worth noting that there's a few different types of MDFCs now, because like we have these ones where they make you make an option in the hand, like what side of this do you want? Extus, whatever, right? Where it's like you get the creature, you get the sorcery, something like that. The pathways, you get one of the colors. But now we have things where it's a permanent on the battlefield that transforms, and it lets you get every single line of text that's printed on these cards. It's almost like a planeswalker in this type of effect.
In March of the Machine's Aftermath, even more so, you're literally getting access to every line of text on the card, both sides of the card, at will.
Totally.
Because you have
the creatures that
the
flip.
new Praetor cycle, which essentially all of them are like, hey, this creature costs 6 CMC. If you pay another 6 mana once it's on the board, you can flip it over, get access to the other side.
I think the new
when that saga completes, you get that front side again.
I know, that is a new spicy thing. We've never seen that with sagas, like something that happens after that, which I think is cool. Evan's really into this Urabrask Storm deck, and it's just like, how many times can you fucking flip this thing in one turn?
Yeah. Yep. It's so appealing to me to
something that's never existed before.
Yeah, I think they've realized that they've run out of room in the text box on the front of the card, so they're like, well, let's make a condition to make it so we can put more text on the back and expand this game space. Like the saga on the back of Urabrask is nutty, and if you're playing Contagion Engine, you can just activate that, proliferate twice, flip it back over, keep a storm going. So it really is this cool little engine, and again, very powerful. It's probably the most powerful out of this Praetor cycle that we're seeing it coming in March of the Machine.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Elish Norn and Jin Gitaxis might rival it, but I think Urabrask is going to be the one that's going to get the most broken.
Which I'm glad finally we get a little something.
And I actually think Shieldred is right up there too. Like
Shieldred is up there.
Yeah, the Rise of the Dark Realms on the back.
Oh, did I not mention Shieldred? Yeah, Shieldred too. Yeah, I would put Shieldred ahead of Gitaxis, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's really wild, like now that we're seeing this, like I think the game is going to be warped around these, like this new design space, right? I think Mark Rosewater, when he said the game of Magic is going to change forever after March of the Machine, I think that's maybe not the intent of that sentence, to say that like these dual face cards are going to be how the game moves forward, but I think that is where we're going, is like the game is going to be structured around how to build a strategy that is going to allow you to accrue the most value out of these cards by either flipping them back and forth or achieving the flip like in battles to get a significant result. So that being said, the financial state of it is a little bit different. For the longest time, Wizards of the Coast has stated that in any pre-constructed product, they will not print MD or like dual-faced cards. And so now that they've decided to push this direction, that is becoming more and more likely. So you can actually see reprints of things like Seagate Restoration, which is climbing in price because it will not see a reprint unless it's in literally a premium set.
Yeah, Malakir Rebirth.
Yeah, Malakir Rebirth. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So now if they actually embrace it and say like, oh, we're just going to include those little tokens that you can write what the front side of the card is and pop that in your deck instead and hold this off to the side, like there is the possibility for that now. And
that
I
is
think
not inspiring to me.
Yeah, right? So financially, when these cards released, there is that window where, yes, the market is flooded. Yes, you can go ahead and you can get these cards while they're at their cheapest or when they're at their most hyped up too, and you could lose out on them. But you know for a fact, unless they're reprinted in a premium set, they're not going to be reprinted. So, like, the way the game moves forward, if the structure of the game wants to be built more around dual face cards, like, what does that look like?
That's true. We've seen a lot of reprintings of the Praetors lately, but like, when do we see the reprinting of the new Praetors, the Saga Praetors? Because like they're done after this. Like, when are they going to bother cycling back in like the
Secret Lair?
Secret Lair, yeah, they have so much IP to like circle back to right now that they've already done Praetors.
The Eldrazi, like, when are they going to get meaningful reprints, right? Kozilek and...
I believe in Commander Master. The upcoming Commander Master set, I would think, because of one of the precons is a new Kozilek, allegedly.
Yeah, and so
that's right, there's going to be a colorless one. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and so you look at that and you realize how many years it's been since we've seen these meaningful reprints.
Yep.
And now you have to take that scope of mind and say they've put all this new product out in such, well, a short amount of time. And when do these cards get meaningful reprints?
Like, I mean, you know, circling back to Commander Masters, like the Dragon is finally getting a meaningful reprint.
Yes,
so
yes.
like the timeline on this stuff can be a decade or more sometimes, right?
Yeah, crazy. Because you can only really stuff so many sets into a year, right? I think we're finding that out. They're hitting their
Challenge
limit.
accepted,
Yeah.
says Wizards.
Well, I feel like they are hitting their limit with that. So these dual face cards, the value of them, I think, is higher than people project just right off the bat. Like, I bought 8 Malakir Rebirths when they were 50 cents or less.
Ooh,
like,
nice.
And now they're all in foil, and so I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, great, I have them all for the decks that I want to build, or maybe the decks that I would want to play, and then the rest of them are just sitting in a binder or in my collection. I'm glad that I did that. Like, I just wanted them to play with, and it's great to see that, like, with that in mind, knowing they wouldn't reprint them in any like precon or anything like that, that I made a good financial decision as well.
Yeah, I mean, like someone like Agadeem's Awakening, like, should not be a base level $25 card or something.
It's not good enough for that.
Hey man, I'll pay $10 for one of those, but like 25 is a little high, and that's just the scarcity of, you know.
Literally never owned one because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way it moves forward, do we see battles being printed in precons? Like, are those happen? Are those being printed in March of the Machine precons? We haven't seen any official lists, have we?
No, the official lists are
those
out.
are out.
I don't know if there's any
had
battles
not looked.
in the Commander decks.
I think they are going to be pushing hard on battles as that, you know, as a new mechanic that needs support.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we haven't previewed March of the Machine's Aftermath, but the talk is that it's going to be heavy on this shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll potentially see our second type of battle as well. And
Yes, because currently we only have sieges.
Right.
Yep.
Oh,
So-
interesting. I see. The other thing I wanted to note, we're talking about MDFCs, or I guess the dual face cards rather.
Yeah.
I want to shout out that cycle of Transformer cards. Honestly, like,
I just got a Slicer.
bro, I was just about to
Yeah.
say, I'm building Slicer.
I'm not building Slicer. I'm throwing them in my Yoshimaru Kedra.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much.
But Slicer is CDH. Like, there are some great lists out there.
It's
like,
true.
And it looks fun to play too. Like, if you can land a turn 1 Slicer and start throwing equipment on
looks
them,
like a
and the chaos
fun
that happens
deck,
at the
bro.
table seems fun.
Like, we were talking, you know, I always want to find the deck where I get to play Umezawa Jite, right? And this seems like god tier Umezawa Jite deck.
Yes.
Like, because you swing.
That bad boy comes back to you with like 8 counters on it.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Well, the thing is, like, you get it, and then you probably swing. So if you can get an equip, right, you swing and you get 2 counters. The next guy swings and it gets 2 counters. Before damage, you'll have 4 counters you can remove, and it has double strike. So you give it +8/+8 with double strike.
Oh.
So that is plus
That's a 1 knock.
8,
Just
9, 10,
knock
11.
somebody right
It's
away.
insta kill. It's 22 damage right there.
Umezawa's Jit remains under your control, and those are your
Yes,
counters
they
to
are
do
your
with
counters.
as you please.
Damn right.
The +2/+2 is it an instant speed? I thought it said only a...
It's at instant speed, my
It's an
friend.
instant speed, bro.
That's
God
what makes
damn.
Umezawa's Jit so broken.
It's cracked.
Timing restrictions
Yeah.
do not apply.
Need not apply here.
And the counters go on the equipment.
Yes. Oh, so I'm very hyped to build that deck, and I'm going to try and keep it kind of budgety, just kind of a fun pod deck.
Oh, hella fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of like, you know, I like your deck because it's just quick tempo, and it kind of puts the pressure on, and we wrap it up real quick. And I think this deck's going to do that in spades.
Yeah, when you said, I think that's when I got interested in Slicer, was when you were like, yeah, I was watching this stream and they put a Commander's plate on it, and I just went like mind blown, bro. Just like it has protection from everything but red. Like good luck good luck blocking that. Good luck like defending yourself against that. And
there's so much good shit in red now, and there's so much good artifact support that this whole deck just comes together so quickly.
Yeah, the more than meets the eye mechanic is pretty freaking cool.
It's pretty sweet. I like
it. That bad boy can come down turn 1 easily because the more than meets the eye cost is 1 red, 2 colorless.
Yeah, it's a Jeweled Lotus away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the main play style I've seen is pretty much try and get 3 mana on turn 1, cast it, pass it down the line, and everybody just fucking, if you can agree, everybody just kills one guy first.
Yeah, comes in with haste, converts once it deals combat damage to the other side, which is the better side, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, honestly, these dual face cards do open up the landscape. Like they have already been changing the game. How they change the game in the future is still yet to be seen, but we're seeing that with like new permanent types like battles that it is here to stay. It is here to because it was not part of like Magic's history, or at least the game, for several years before we really started seeing them come back. Like I think Core 19 actually is like where it was with Nicol Bolas, was where maybe have been reintroduced.
Oh, Nicol Bolas, the
Ravager. That's an old school flip card.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And we say old school. It is pretty old now, right?
That was one of its first
4
printed.
or 5 years
printed before that, was it not?
No, I mean that was its first printing.
First printing. I mean, that's still pretty old school.
So yeah, there's.
I don't think I wasn't alive back then.
Yeah, with this new permanent
2019
battles coming to the forefront of the game. Yeah, dual face cards are here to stay, and they're just going to be present in every set. I feel it's an evergreen mechanic.
Yeah, man. When are you building that new Atali? Speaking of,
there's so many good flip cards in fucking March of the Machines, though, bro. I could spend an hour riffing on these.
Yep,
that new Heliod, the white blue Heliod, is gorgeous.
Tell you what, guys, leave a comment if you like this discussion and you want to hear more about MDFCs. We can for sure do a deep dive on upcoming MDFCs and how sweet they are in March of the Machines.
And put your most underrated MDFC or dual face card in the comments below, and let's have a little chat about it. I want to be able to shout out some people in the next episode and really have a deep discussion on some of these cards and how they impact your decks.
You know what I want to hear from people? What is your best worst MDFC? What card has an amazing side and a horrible side?
Like you have to suffer through how horrible the front side is to get to the back side?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. We even talked about Kaldheim, bro. Like Bergie. Oh my God. Bro.
Yeah. I mean, this goes on forever. Bergie's
Tegrid.
goated.
Yeah.
Valky. Valky?
Yeah. Valky with the
Planeswalker on the back.
Yeah. Tybalt Planeswalker.
Yeah. Very cool. You get a 1 in a black for a freaking creature or a 7-mana Planeswalker. Like, you fucking choose your own adventure there, pal.
Sheesh. All right.
Well, all this to say, get ready to fucking pull your card out of your sleeve and flip it around all the goddamn time.
You better be double sleeving.
You better be double sleeving, and you better be replacing those dragon shields every 6 months. I swear to God.
Yeah, that is part of the discussion.
You're going to have a real loose neck situation.
Guys, just buy katanas. They're a better sleeve.
Oh my God. This is part of the marketing strategy by Wizards of the Coast. Because if you want to have 4 of these in your deck, right? You need a 5th or a 6th or a 7th in the side deck so that you don't flip it. You can just put it out. You're just selling more cards that way, right?
Probably. They're jerk.
Conspiracy!
Leave it to Evan. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening.
This has been another episode of the MoxStars Podcast. If you would like to hear more episodes of the MoxStars Podcast, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you can stay tuned for get notifications on more episodes as they drop.
5 stars on Spotify.
You can get 5 stickers.
5 stickers, 5 stars. That's how it works, baby.
Yep. That's the MoxStars guarantee. 5 stickers, 5 stars. We say it every episode.
We say it every episode from here on out.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.